I'm good with it if it stays that way, but it's like it warms up and then it goes back down. It warms up. I can remember once, maybe 7 years ago or so, I loved it. It was cold, it was icy, everything was pretty. It was fine. And it was like negative 17 wind chill, but I was fine with it because I had adjusted. Yeah, but all that switching, which we do like crazy. That's true, yeah. And you can only wear a minimum of some clothes. You could be arrested if you took up your shoes.
You know, that's the division.
Did you get used to it? Yeah. Do you need face protection when it's like that?
Can we I'll tell you what I got.
Yeah.
Got new irons?
No, I
Isn't that amazing that people
last
just
year we're adding one.
settle there and live there and do that all the time?
50 miles above that.
Yeah.
Mostly contract.
I know that's exactly what we're doing. We're about to say, we're gonna all start using Google.
And the door was shut behind them.
And getting rid of,
And they get locked outside, you can 10 minutes.
go to sheets.
Oh, okay.
So we're not gonna do.
No, just
Just
get sheets.
everything's a
Door
shared
locked behind
document.
them.
Yeah, that's.
They didn't have all their stuff on it. They would die.
Right, you're like, you're gonna do the camera shot, but you're back there like,
You know, I don't know where they're at and where they're at.
Like one.
we'll do it, but, I mean.
Yeah, that's
I'm
not.
driving, okay, hit one up on the green.
That's, so how long were you up there?
6 weeks.
You're a veteran.
So yeah,
We were up there, we never got out. So it was like 24 hours.
slam dunk.
Good, how are you?
It's neat to see it.
It was beautiful. I mean, it was like being in.
That's what I was saying, so now that I've gone to digital,
I'll let the guy know about the
I
street
love
light.
it because I'm not looking at my score. So I finish the hole, I put in what number I got, and then when I finish the round, then you know, calculate stuff. It's like, oh, see this?
Yeah, man.
This league is the one.
So do they just kind of put in some motivator or got their stuff on there?
So that's what you're keeping.
John Simon? I don't know. And they said,
Then I go to my buddies with him, he was my partner.
Daisy's not gonna be here tonight.
They said that. The vet.
Yeah.
Some people say why vet, I'll say the vet.
What's that?
I just put part of last Monday, so now this.
You're speaking at the regular, right? Not at work session. Yeah, it just has to be turned in before seven.
3 birdies, and I really did
Yeah.
I hit 87% of fairways, which is one of those things that just like
Hang out there.
Anything that's in this room says whether you like it or not.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna go back to the
That
same
changes
place.
the procedure to petition to create.
You know, I got.
Get that. There should be an exception.
So I just went ahead and put it in.
There should be a way to put it under.
You want to talk?
It's one of those
That's what I mean.
But you've done this
There
before,
should be a
right?
way
You
to
see
put
your
it
shot,
under
everyone's supposed to
someone's
be
name.
left edge, you're like, all
But
right.
then have one of those people.
I don't know, that's a good question that we should probably try to figure out.
So you come down, you sit, and then when the bill comes up,
Hello, sir.
We get the sunlight.
I'm counting on your expertise tonight.
Just starts things shifting and moving, it's like, I had another one.
Dude.
I had the car. You called it last week. Cause I said it to my assistant once. I said, well, you know, and it just bounced straight the entire time.
He's gone. Well, did you watch the press conference at all tonight? So they fired the entire defensive team. So they didn't just fire Travis Williams. They fired his assistant and the defensive line coach.
I'm like, oh.
Those are the disappointing ones.
Are you, man?
Me.
That's probably no good.
It is 1 minute till. Gonna have a little sweater. I don't. Are you either cold or hot? I don't know.
So you're familiar with one?
Did find my.
Okay, number 17. So we call it the Tommy Hill. Tommy hit this out there to the left, bounced on his bones, kept him in the car path. Last one decided to jump to the right, we heard him to, you can say. So we drove the green to the hole, called the Tommy Hill, because we just kept seeing bouncing to the left on that right. So we were
99% of people,
who knows?
I think,
Right.
Oh yeah, so they just leave the
everywhere
cars.
else, I think people want.
Did you get to keep it?
No.
Did you wear it on date night?
It was so itchy and smelly.
Oh, yeah.
It's just.
Yeah. The ball was out. At least guys can set up. That could.
Oh, it's fresh.
So still, the leash fur is, you know.
We moved the ball to last year.
And it's just, it's grandmother baby and it's
No, I'm sorry.
You know, when you're riding for a ton of.
Yes, we do.
That's so neat. Is that the sun or the moon?
That's the sun. That's as low as it got.
Hold on. So what was that?
It was.
Is that the sun?
Never will be enough. I'm fluffy.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. You're
That's
73
kind
years
of.
old.
Yeah.
You fluff, baby.
What were you training to do?
Oh,
Cold water?
No, we were training.
Whole thing is part of it. Lionel and I, when we first moved out there, we played it like 3 times a week. I was on the team, he was on the team.
Like go foul.
So if somebody really gets hurt.
That's fine. I do
We
want to talk
lost
about
every ball,
Robert's
like
rules.
30 balls by the.
How that.
Like, this is
That's big time. That's big time course.
All right, we're 6:01.
Enough people to staff it.
All right, let's get started on our work session tonight. Try to get as much done as we possibly can. I know everybody's probably got certain things that they want to go through and maybe do some changes on. I told Rory I'm counting on his expertise tonight because Mr. Swanson I know is a Robert's Rules guy, so I'm hoping that we can count on some expertise that is in the room. But I know Claire and Lori sent everybody the council rules a few weeks ago when we first started talking about this. So I'm hoping that everybody's had an opportunity to go through. Is there anything that anybody would like to start with for proposed changes? Councilwoman York.
I would like to see us, I know this happened a couple weeks ago, or maybe about a month ago. I would like to see us, if we take something off the table that we can't vote on it the same night, that we put it back in the queue. We could discuss it and everything else, but put it back in the queue so that those people who are kind of monitoring, you know, different, the agenda, and they say, oh, well, it's on the table, they don't know if it's going to come off the table and voted on the same night. So, I mean, that's how we used to do it before, you know, when I was in the city, is that we would take it off, we would say, this is going to be voted on at the next meeting, and then those people who really wanted to have any say-so in it could come back and talk about it. Because I think that happened, that we pulled something off, we voted on it, and then I got calls from people saying,
Right.
wait a minute, you know, we didn't know that, or we would have been there, you know, and we would have been able to give you our side of it.
Roy,
Just an idea.
Yeah, there's nothing in your present rules that doesn't allow you to take something off the table and then put it back on the table. So I don't know that there's necessarily a rule change that's required so much as an agreement, or somebody would just make the motion, I guess, once it's being taken off the table, with what to do with it. So.
Councilman Hollander.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. But the problem, I'd say problem, is that if we're going to do that, then we have to decide to pull something off the agenda
at least 4 days before we actually have the meeting, right? Because it has to, you know what I'm saying? So let's say we table something, okay? And, okay, so it's on the table. We're not gonna pull it off the table until, we don't know if it's the next meeting, 2 meetings from now, or whenever. But whenever it does occur, you know, to meet your requirement, we're gonna have to decide to take it off the table before the actual meeting itself,
Well, I think in theory,
right? I mean,
We would-
so that people would know about it.
I think in theory, what we would have to do is, like say, we table something tonight, the next meeting, we would have to announce, we're going to take action on it in the coming meeting, and that way everybody would have notice. Is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Because we can take it off the table that night,
Yeah,
the
right.
sponsor says, I want to take this off the table.
Right.
And this is what I want to talk about, but we don't get to vote on it that night. It goes back into the queue, so to speak, as wherever that number is on the agenda. And so for the next time, we would then be able to actually vote on it because it's,
Rory, would it come off? Can you take it off the table and
And then leave it on the table?
leave it on the table for the next meeting?
I think that the procedure would be, somebody would make a motion to take it off the table. That would be seconded, and then a vote would be taken, and if it was taken off the table, then it's before you to consider, and then you can take any action that you ordinarily would with any other bill at that stage.
But we wouldn't be taking any action during
Well,
that
you would
meeting.
have to then decide that you're either going to vote it up or down, or else to put it back on the table.
So that doesn't really help what Patty's talking about at that point, though. What he's saying is, if you're going to do that, so a solution that I might offer is, at the end of the meeting, we have announcements and miscellaneous. At that point would be a point where I feel like we could announce, hey, at our next meeting, bill number blah, 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 which is currently tabled, will come off the table and we will vote on it at the next meeting.
but I don't think we all, maybe a couple people knew the night before or the night of that, yeah, we're going to take this off the table and vote on it. And I'm like, that's great. But then people were calling me saying, wait a minute, we didn't know you were taking it off the table and going to vote on it that night because we would have been there. But it was, when it's listed on the table, it didn't say, and we're going to take it off the table,
But the issue, from what I'm understanding, what Rory's saying is, once you take it off the table, we have to vote it up or down at that meeting. So
Is that
we
right?
don't,
Is that right, Rory? If we take it off the table, do we have to vote it up or down that?
No, like I said, I think that you can actually move to put it back on the table.
But you can put it
but then
back on.
it goes right back on the table, and that doesn't fit, because on the agenda, it's still going to show that it's on the
Well,
table.
if I was just gonna make any remark, it would be that every time that you publish an agenda, it gets published to the community, to the wider world, and it's made available online. And really, any time that something is on the table is a time that the council can choose to take it off the table at the next meeting. So the public is aware that each of those items is up for, there is the potential that action would be taken on that item if it's on the table.
Councilman Swanson.
Yeah, hearing the discussion on this, I understand where you're coming from, Councilman York. My thoughts, though, a lot of things can change between our meetings, because sometimes we'll have 3 weeks between a meeting, and maybe the applicant wanted it tabled because they needed to finish some legal reasons or anything else, and contact their council person and say, will you pull off the table, we're ready to vote. And then that could delay it even farther if we go to something what you guys are talking about, of making a motion at the end of the meeting saying, I'd like to remove this item from the table to be placed on the agenda at this specific date. We could do that, correct, Rory?
Sure.
Yeah, that would.
And that would be then crystal clear versus leaving it on the table, just make the motion to make it the agenda item at the next meeting.
I like that. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Right. I think-
Because not all of the, like you say, not all of the bills that we have people coming and speaking on them. A lot of them are, that's just regular bill. We pulled it off for whatever reason, but so there's no discussion on it. But, you know, one particular bill did have discussion, and it was on the table for what, three
The
or four
campground.
meetings, you know?
Is what she's talking about.
You know, so it was on there for 3 or 4 meetings, and they came to one meeting and it was tabled, nobody said anything, and the next meeting they watched it on TV and it was tabled, nobody said anything. Next time they watched it on TV and we pulled it off and voted on it, and they were like, wait a minute, you know, they didn't say, what are you pulling here, but they just wanted to have some input. And I don't want to ever give the impression that we're trying to sneak something through.
Right, and that's where, because it was in the district I get to represent.
Right.
And he was working through a lot of other issues. Could he get supervisors within it, finish up this or that? And then even determining if he wanted to do it. He was also working with staff to
Right.
change the zoning on it.
Correct.
And I know I published it out in my stuff, but, you know, I don't, people in your district are probably not following me. And
Right.
that's just how it is. But I think that was kind of a rare circumstance. I really don't want a council rule that's that binding, where
Okay.
we don't have the flexibility to it. That's just me.
But
Mr.
if-
Brazel.
I don't know, I understand both perspectives. I think that, should you give the notice to the people that it's gonna come off the agenda? Yes, I think you should. I don't know if it's fair to, in Patty's case, to bring it off the table with no notice. Did they give any notice on it was coming off the table?
No.
No.
I don't think that's fair, because if I was something I'm opposed to or want to express my position and it's a public hearing, I'd want to know about it. So I think there should be some kind of day notice, 2, 3, a week, 5 days, I don't know, there should be, so don't you think there should be a notice?
I think the hard part then, Joe, is what's the mechanism to notice? How do we push something out to the residents of the county?
They would tell the secretary and they would, and we would say that this agenda item is coming off the table. And it
Can
would
we,
be-
can we post that on the agenda?
We never have.
No,
So
we
and you'd
can't.
have to decide on that,
You'd have
right,
to
like you
decide,
said
yeah.
earlier, by Friday, before you post the agenda.
No, but the question is, if it was a council rule that you have to give 3 days notice, or whatever,
Oh,
if they choose to do this, then you would put it on the agenda.
Right, I think that's, and really, we're just talking about notice. Tim, do you want to weigh in on
Oh, no,
this?
I'm sorry.
And I think that's really what we're coming down to, is what's the best vehicle to provide the notice that we are going to take action on that bill? And it would seem to be the best way to provide notice is to note it on the agenda prior to that meeting. But what you're saying is we currently don't have a mechanism to note that on a tabled bill, correct?
Correct.
So,
What Joe just came up with, to interrupt, I think could be an easy solution, that if anything's to be removed from the table, there must be 5 days' notice, which would back that up to, what, Wednesday, Thursday? Which then would still allow it to be on the agenda on Friday.
here's my question though, to what she's trying to do. How did the public know that?
No, if we make this a new rule moving forward, because then it would be listed on the agenda.
So we are in agreement that we would note on the public agenda, this bill would be voted on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think really all it would take is one of us to inform them, hey, I'm gonna take that bill off. I'm gonna take that tabled bill off the table.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it only
sponsor.
requires one of us to take the
No,
bill, really.
well,
It
I
requires
think,
two,
Terry,
because it's gotta have a second.
That's
Should
correct,
be a-
that is absolutely correct, but I think that it's up to the council member to give, I think if we're gonna make a rule, if you guys think that the people should be notified, then we gotta tell them, it's our obligation to tell them, and if it doesn't make that Wednesday the 5-day rule, then it doesn't get pulled off the agenda.
Okay, yeah,
How,
that's reasonable.
how about, since all the bills have to be, according to our current council rules, all bills have to be turned in to staff, assuming that we follow council rules, by 8 a.m. on Thursday. 8 a.m. on Thursday
that
is
what time it
our rule right now for bills that are
Every 5
supposed to be
days.
turned in. And that way, because at the end of the day, all we're really what we're trying to do isn't inform us, is to inform the public.
Yeah, that'd be 5 days, right?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, yeah, so that would,
Yeah.
But that's not being adhered to.
We don't have it yet.
it's not being adhered to.
Okay, you're saying to make it to where,
Yes.
okay.
Now, if we're gonna discuss, actually doing this, I think it needs to be two people have to inform them. One, hey, I'm
You have to
taking-
have a second?
We're gonna have to have a second anyway.
Could you have
to-
just the sponsor of the bill?
To technically get it off the table once we get here.
Well, the sponsor doesn't have to,
Sometimes we're sponsoring something that we don't agree with.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it
Yeah.
happens to be in our
Yeah,
district.
leave it on the table forever, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, that's,
Well,
So-
That's a good, that's,
back to your point, Mike, the 8 o'clock Thursday thing, that go, that,
That's
just,
your 5 days.
that's your 5 days. Just so that also there's a council rule that the executive team is supposed to have something down.
I think we're gonna bring that up here.
Oh, you're gonna talk about that later?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Let's finish this
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement that tabled bills will be notified that we are going to take action on tabled bills by 8 a.m. Thursday morning prior to the meeting.
My only question is that for all bills then? Are you gonna,
Tabled bills.
only table.
all tabled bills, you will let
Tabled.
us know 5 days in advance before they're coming off?
By-
Not just the ones people care about?
Thursday morning at 8, tabled bills. So
But
the
you
whole
know-
purpose is to allow you, when you do the agenda, to note next to the tabled bill,
What if
action
no-
will,
What if no one calls us about a bill that nobody has any questions about and it's tabled? Then we
I-
just sleep.
I
That's the
think
only
we
thing
have
I
to
think
note
you're
on
too-
tabled bills that we will take action at the coming meeting.
They can technically sit there for 15 meetings.
I agree.
So the ones that, like, we had a farm,
Yeah, my district.
proposed farm
Oh, no, I
play
thought-
area.
Yeah, that was mine.
And they never contacted you, and you never contacted them saying, when are you gonna pull that from the table? So then, I just think it might create some confusion, because some of them will not have when it's gonna be acted on, and some of them will.
But if we just put a note that says, this tabled bill will have action at the coming meeting,
I know, so the ones that don't have that next to it, are they gonna call and ask me when it's gonna be voted on?
They would have to contact one of us to pull it off.
correct.
And then
So
we would have-
it's just
Yeah, I would say if they.
preferential treatment for certain
Well, if they
bills.
contacted you, you'd say, it's, you know, we have not, we have not received anything from any councilman, so the assumption is that it will not come off the table.
It's fine.
If you don't hear from us, it's going to stay tabled at the coming meeting. One of
We
us
still
would
make
have
a
to
motion
let
put it
you
off
know
anyway.
that there's going to be action. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, makes sense.
And
Do
that
you-
one in
do
particular
you
you're
want
talking
to-
about, I contacted them numerous times, and they would never return a phone call, email, or anything. That was a
So-
unique one.
Mr. Hollander has suggested that 2 of us have to be in agreement to pull the bill off and take action. Mr. Brazel?
It's good, yeah.
Tim?
No, yeah, fine.
Okay, so
The only thing I wanna say is, so if a
I
developer
submitted- I
has
was in the
something that they
hospital last
tabled,
week.
and they wanna pull it off, and they tell you on a Saturday, and we've posted the agenda, then it cannot be pulled off.
cannot be pulled up.
So you're taking that away from yourselves, being able to
Correct.
untable and vote, okay?
Yeah.
Technically, a developer can't take something off the agenda. They can
Right,
only
you would
ask
have
us
to
to
say.
take it off the agenda.
Right.
Yeah, they would have to ask us prior. All right, so we have 2 members, must let staff know by 8 a.m. on Thursday.
I like that.
All right,
Oh, it's a question.
yep,
What time do you guys get here
In the morning?
on Thursday?
No, 8.
You're here by 8?
that's why it's 8.
I would give it a little cushion.
By 9 a.m.
I
on
would say
Thursday?
9, just in case,
Yeah,
you know.
Okay,
That way we're not hitting them with a phone call as soon as they're walking in.
all right.
Do you want it to be Wednesday?
Well, you can always send them an email and it'll count,
Right.
so. All right,
Thank you.
good on that?
Yes, I like that.
Mr. Swanson?
I was gonna say, hey, Joe, you wanna hit what you brought up just there? That's, I mean, we're kinda talking about.
Okay,
Timing.
Mr. Brazel?
well, I know that the girls down in the office sometimes get hit with a bunch of bills and stuff from the county executive office late on Friday, and the rule is supposed to have them, it's Thursday by what time?
8 a.m.
O'clock, and it doesn't happen very often, and it just overloads them on Friday, and we've been lax on that rule when it in fact is a rule, so we gotta decide what we're gonna do if the rule's not followed. Does it just not get submitted?
Well, my understanding from talking to Rory is that in our rules, it says shall be 8 a.m., not should be 8 a.m. So I think
Other
we
way
just.
around, council member.
What's that?
I said it's the other way around.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It should not. shall.
Should, no, whatever. But I think we make it to where it should, required by 8 a.m. on Thursday.
Shall, it should be
Shall,
shall. Yeah.
okay.
Must, shall.
English was not my
Will.
strong suit.
So here's, Mr. Davis, welcome. Any other thoughts on that? Rob, you want to weigh in on this one?
No, sir. Sometimes I know that there are times, we don't get things back in form to be submitted until late. I don't know the frequency of when it happens or doesn't happen, but we will certainly endeavor to make sure that happens.
So do you want to build in anything in case of an emergency bill that council chair can add it?
Maybe, yeah. But I guess you gotta, like, okay, so, I guess you can do that, but then you're gonna see how many times they do it, and then, yeah, so I guess you gotta have an out, yeah.
It's always our goal to get it there at the time prescribed.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about is what if that goal's not met though? What's the next step?
Yeah, so if 8 a.m. Thursday passes and there's still, like this week, we had 4 bills that they were still waiting for Friday morning at 8:30. We allowed 1 and we kicked 3 back.
So if it's at the discretion of the chair, yes.
So,
If it's past 8 a.m. on Thursday.
yeah, are we,
I concur.
Yeah, I concur.
What kind of bills are not getting done? When you say they're waiting, who are they waiting on?
so it depends, right? They could be waiting for a lot of different things,
Like
depending on,
from the other entity involved in the ordinance.
Oh, okay.
they could be waiting for
Could we give them
numbers
a
to
t-
come back from an outside source. You know, if it's a road project or something, they could be waiting for them to get something back to us that we just haven't got it yet. So, so right now our rules say 8 a.m. Thursday, and the only way a bill gets past that is, has to have permission of the chair. Yes, sir.
Are you going to keep, just for the sake of harmony, are you going to keep that 8 a.m. or are you going to push
Oh, yeah.
that back to 9 a.m.?
That's correct, it should be 9 a.m., yeah.
You want 9?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
fine.
Just to harmonize it with the other.
There we go.
And we're changing the should to shall?
Yes.
Watch those words there, buddy.
Roy, are we good on that?
I made a notation, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That's number 2. Who's next?
Well, I got a list.
Well, go ahead, jump on in.
I have a few I want to do as well,
Oh, do
so
you?
go ahead.
Why don't you go ahead and then, because we probably have one of the same ones.
So I want to put a time limit on all comments. So right now, public comments are 3 minutes. But we have no time limit on conditional use. And as we just found out on the capital plan this past year, this past couple of meetings ago, we have no time limit on public hearings. So if someone wants to pontificate for almost 25 minutes on their opinion, come on in. We have nothing in our rules that limits that.
I've moved to make it 3 minutes on everything,
Well,
unless, I can't.
I noticed a number of other municipalities have 5 minutes on public hearings and conditional use.
That's fine too.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Mr. Swanson?
We did it, because I think sometimes with the conditional use permit, there is a lot more complexity to it, and 5 minutes, I think, is sufficient time. And as you said, other municipalities have been doing this for a while.
Other thoughts?
No, I'm in
problem with
agreement.
that at all.
So we'll make, Rory, are we violating any free speech at this point that, I know,
I would like an opportunity to do some research.
Research on that?
For you all, just especially with respect to public hearings and conditional use permits, because I think that the rule requires, or the case law is developed around the idea that people need to be given the opportunity to testify fully and be given the opportunity to be heard.
correct.
So I'm not saying that there can't be any guidelines or limitations placed on that, but before you put a number like 5 minutes on it, I'd like the benefit of being able to do some research to share that with you.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we'll make that as a placeholder until we hear back from Rory, seeing that no one has objections. Councilwoman Yule, back to you.
One of the other things we might look at is maybe having people, when they give however many minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, that they speak on one topic, not like a whole list of things to talk about?
So one topic per speaker.
That's
Right.
currently in the rules and
It's-
on the speaker cards.
Oh, okay. So
So we're just not adhering to that.
we're
is
not
what I'm
adhering to it,
hearing.
okay.
Okay.
Well, then let's adhere to that.
So here's, Rory, help me with this, but if council rules call for one topic, only one topic per speaker. So when they fill out the card, say they want to speak on Bill 5415, they are only allowed to speak on Bill 5415, and they can't.
Unless your rule continues and says, unless directed to do so at the pleasure of the council.
Directed to do so. Directed.
So in other
There
words,
are so you're talking about Rule 18.
You wanna hear more.
Just so everybody knows what you're talking about, but it's Rule 18,
Public
Section
comment.
B, which is located on page 28, I believe. And so,
that St. Louis County Council votes down all kinds of things.
I
So
was like, what are we
luckily,
doing?
we're not there. So on page 28,
page
Going back to
28.
that, Mike, what you're talking about, what if you have, I want to understand this, you got two items, you got a zoning issue and then you got a CUP, and they're two different subjects, but would they have to fill out two speaker cards, or would they be able to just piggyback them on the same time?
Well, one's a CUP, that would be separate.
yeah,
is that what
C-
we're
a
saying?
CUP would be a separate topic. So currently, you could speak as we see on a regular basis. If we have 4 CUPs, you can speak on all 4 CUPs, and you can come back and do public comment. And you could do a public hearing. You could speak on all of those. What we're talking about is during public comment, you only get one topic.
Yeah, I think that, because if we say the person wants to speak on 2 topics, that means they have to fill out 2 cards, that means they're gonna get 6 minutes. And that's not, we don't want that, that's not what we're really looking for, right? So, I think, yeah.
So on this, under page 28, under the heading B of public comment, no petitioner shall speak more than one time, nor speak on more than one topic, unless directed to do so at the pleasure of the council. The way I'm reading that, I take that to understand the council would request the speaker to go to speak on an additional topic.
That's certainly one way of looking at it. You could say at the beginning of a meeting that, you have 2 highly contentious items, and so speakers will be allowed to address both. I mean, I don't know that you necessarily have to direct them during their public comment necessarily, but,
Okay.
but that's certainly one way to read it, yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you this though, Roy. If the speaker speaks for a minute and a half and says, I'm requesting the council to allow me to speak on a second subject, how are we gonna deal with that?
I think
Pleasure
that
of the council.
when you look at what public comment really is, it's an opportunity that you as the council are affording to the public to be heard. And so when you invite somebody to speak, which is what public comment is, then you are able to direct them if you so choose. If you want to grant that request, then the chair would be able to grant that request if they so chose. That's where they would then direct the person to speak on a different topic.
Okay. I think the thing that we're trying to get around here is someone who has to name a topic on the agenda. They cannot name the agenda as their topic, because you could have a speaker who is just going to laundry list down everything on the agenda during their 3 minutes that they want to talk about, which isn't very focused. So 99% of the people who do public comment speak on one topic. They're here to speak on only one thing. So if we can keep it focused on one topic per speaker. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a little wrench into this,
Okay.
and you guys can decide how you wanna go with this.
Sure.
I don't like being restricted to items on the agenda, because sometimes things come up and somebody wants to speak about what's going on within the public, it be it the library and books that were going on, go back to the great days of wearing masks and 6 feet, and it wouldn't be an agenda item, but I don't like to limit the people not to have their voice heard to us in a public forum.
And so far, we haven't, which is why we're able to talk about parking at the convention center and neighborhoods. That's
So-
not something that would be on our agenda, but it's an important topic that we need to address.
So that's
Fair.
just me here, you guys can decide, but I'm on the thing of, if it's something relating to St. Charles County, then I'm fine with them talking about it. If it's related to Washington DC or other areas, no, but if it's related to St. Charles County, I want to hear what they have to say.
Mike?
Thoughts?
Yeah, I remember when this rule was first put in, I was chairman. And basically what we did at that time was Donna or Claire would bring the cards up to me and say, this person wants to speak on this issue, but it's not on the agenda. What do you think? Of course, 99% of the time I'd say, yeah, that's
Right.
fine. Okay?
Liking where you're going with this.
And that's currently what our rules
that's how we
say.
did it.
So if it's an agenda item, automatic, if not, it's at the discretion of the chair
Correct.
with
That's-
prior
that's-
approval?
That's currently what our rules are. Our current rules are, you have to speak on an agenda item, but it is at the discretion of the chair to allow. And for, I don't know, multiple chairs, we've pretty much allowed people to speak on anything. Joe?
No, I agree. Yeah, I think that, I agree with Matt, actually. I started thinking about it. Don't want to really restrict people on what they can and can't say. I think they got a First Amendment right as well. So, I don't know, you know. I mean, I know our time's valuable, and we want to hear people get up there and blather on about nothing and nonsense, but sometimes you just got to endure it. That's our job.
3 minutes is 3 minutes.
3 minutes
And
is 3 minutes, yeah.
We can all live with 3
Yeah,
minutes,
right.
no matter what anybody's saying,
Yeah,
technically.
and that's fine. I think it's, you
20
keep it
minutes.
the way it is, Mike. That's my opinion.
Well, currently it says that you have to speak on an agenda item.
Well, no, you can do a good job. You do a good job of controlling that. You can just say, no, wait a second. And that's up to the chair. I'm not, you know, none of us are going to say anything, but
Well, we
sometimes-
actually had a dispute
and
last
that-
meeting
That does need to be said sometimes.
about it has to be a county issue. It can't be a state or federal issue, and that is currently in our rules. As Mr. Elman pointed out at the end of our last meeting, our council rules do say it has to be a county issue.
I agree. I do.
I think we could clean it up so it's a little bit more clear within our rules here on section B and C of how it's listed there.
Thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, and then you're saying, like, if we do a resolution, I mean, that's not county issue that we do on.
Well, if it's on the agenda, it's a county issue.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
whatever.
for example, if somebody wanted to start talking about the Kansas City Chiefs legislative action that the legislature took, that has absolutely nothing to do with us, right? It's not within our scope of powers to be able to do. It's just somebody using this as a public forum to go off on the fact that they don't like it, that the Senate gave a special deal to the Chiefs. Doesn't really matter if any of us like it either. We have zero power in that arena. But if there's a parking issue at the convention center, we can do something about that. That's a county issue. So what are the thoughts that you have about this particular one topic per speaker? It doesn't have to be an agenda issue because it could be allowed by the chair. But are we good with one topic per speaker?
I think that cleans it up so it's not the laundry list, because if I'm having a problem with dogs running loose and I want to bring that to the council's agenda, that's a county issue.
It is.
And most people are going to show up are usually singular focus.
Other thoughts?
So what are you saying, Matt? You think that if it's a county issue, they can talk? I agree with that, yeah.
But
One
they
topic.
would stick on one topic.
Yeah, yes, I agree with that.
We're good?
Yeah.
Clear?
I guess, no.
Okay.
So you're,
He's a lawyer.
you're
That's why I'm
keeping
asking.
the rule as is?
Yes, I
Okay.
guess that becomes more of an enforcement issue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. All right, next. Go down your list. Tim, you have anything?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Everybody's happy here. One of the things I would like to see, and you all can jump in here, I always feel sorry for the chair to have to be swiveling the whole meeting back and forth while we're trying to wave him down, or the chair down, and then swiveling back and forth to see everybody. I think it would be nice if we just had a simple button that we could press the button, it goes over to the council chair then sees, okay, you know, Councilwoman York wants to speak next, and then the next person wants to speak, next person wants to speak.
Matthew?
Does our IT department have suggestions on how we could put together?
Well, the council member and I came from the same place, so I'm familiar with that technology.
So could we look at, can you help us get some bids on something that may help us do that?
Doesn't sound like it's real high-tech even to me, okay?
If I could
Use
weigh
our
in on
phones
this.
if we had to do-
I think there's a much simpler way. With all the technology coming from where I did, we had technology nightmare. Keeping it simple is the best option. And I think if we adhere to one of the rules that each elected official only can speak on it twice on a topic, that solves the problem pretty quick, because you're going to be very measured on what you're going to say, and then you know you don't have an opportunity to speak till every other council member has had an opportunity, and then the chair can go, you got one more chance, and then you have to be right in on it. Now, obviously, the chair can allow more discussion if new information is brought forth, but then we kind of know that you're going to have an opportunity to speak versus trying to get the chair's, hand. But I think we do a pretty good job on it. I understand the electronic system, that's just something else to fail and something else to spend money on, and this is free.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the, only getting to speak twice. We've had a lot of debates up here.
Then we need to
over the
change that rule
last
then.
17 years. And the point that is that there's a lot of times, Joe, you've spoke more than 3 times, you spoke more than 2 or 3 times because there was
We
a-
get
there
going
was
back and
something, yeah,
forth.
and I think that's
Right.
what the public wants
Right.
to see.
Because it's open dialogue, you want to be able to exchange, and if you only have 2 chances and someone says something that you don't believe or is, you got to be able to kind of converse back and forth.
Yeah,
To Mr. Swanson's point, though, that's what our rules say right now. Our-
that you can
It
only
does
speak
say
on
that?
twice.
Yes,
It does.
Rule 28, Section C.
Right, yeah.
Where do you change it? We
Well, I
probably
just
should
think
have that in there.
if we had, if the chair had some kind of cue there, knew that, Mr. Swanson wants to talk on this, and he hit first, okay? And then Mr. Baker wants to talk on it, and then Ms. York wants to talk about it. Then he can just call us at time, instead of, here's Tim leaning around me, waving, and Mike's looking that way, and then by the time he turns around here, we're both waving, and so who do you call on next? It just seems like for Robert's Rules of Order, it's just a more orderly, fashioned way to do things. And I'm with you, I think we should be able to speak on it, but I don't think we should be able to speak a second time until everybody else has spoken the first time. And then the same way, if we want to speak a third time or whatever, we go back to that. But this would put us all in a queue, I think, and the technology isn't rocket science compared to a lot of things.
St. Charles City had that, didn't they?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think most cities do.
We did.
What did you have in Winsville?
Wentzville was, you had one opportunity to speak, and it's the mayor, because he ran the meeting's job to make sure everyone's had a chance to speak, and then they would go second round if you want to go. And then we'd keep going and going sometimes, but it was more of the chair's responsibility to manage that part of it. But if that's the case, then we need to change Rule 28C.
I do think we
More
need
than
to do
2
a better
times.
job of adhering to giving everybody an opportunity to speak after you speak once. So once somebody says their beef, then you go ahead and say your speech, and then give someone else the opportunity to weigh in before you come back. And sometimes we get debate going before other people get the opportunity to weigh in. So we should probably follow that part a little better. Thoughts?
Well, I guess, like, if I say something at the very early stages and then there's discussions, then I'm just sitting here like this, you know?
Well, until anybody else has an opportunity to
Right,
speak.
but I don't know when everyone else is done, because somebody else may, oh, I decided, you know, Terry may say, I'm gonna talk about it too. So I like Patty's idea of, I mean, probably wouldn't be too big of an, you don't think so, Matt? Okay.
No.
Cost-wise, you mean? No.
Well, when I was the city councilman in Florissant in the 90s, we had that, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not new technology.
Yeah.
New technology.
It is not. All right. So Mr. Seeds is going to give us some options of
Good idea.
something we can follow from that standpoint. Other thoughts?
Just, I think we gotta change then section C on there of not allowed to speak more than twice. From what it sounds like, we want more open discussion back and forth. Rory?
I mean, the current rule says on the same question, without leave from the chair. So every time that the chair accepts your comments or recognizes or acknowledges that a member wants to speak, I think that theoretically that rule is not violated, even if you are speaking on for the third or fourth or fifth time. I mean, none of the council members speak without the chair recognizing them first, if the rules are being followed.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
I'm in a good mood. Yes.
All right. Other thoughts? Revisions?
Are we just sticking to the council rules and not charter rules, or what do you want to do?
We don't have charter rules for us to be able to do. Charter rules, you'd have to have a charter commission to go
No,
back
I mean,
and
just
do.
to bring up a topic that, or do we not want to do that?
Well, right now, let's finish
Okay.
council rules. Any other discussion on any further council rules that anyone has any thoughts about?
I read this a while ago. Do we have anything in there in the rules about what agendas we get? We don't have that in there, do we? No. Just our own
Agendas we get?
agendas. Like, we don't, I would like to see us get the planning and zoning agenda before the meeting instead of a movie, a video about what happened afterwards.
So the planning
You
and
know, but
zoning
that-
agendas are all public. They're all listed, they're on the county website. I mean, they can send them to us.
Yeah.
If you want,
I
but-
wanted those in the road board agendas, just, but that
Yeah,
doesn't have
all
to be a
of-
council rule, but I would just like to be sent a link before the meeting,
Yeah,
when they
all
go
of-
out to everybody
All of
else.
those agendas are publicly listed and they're all on the county website.
I know.
So,
On one
Sir.
comment is I'd like to mention that if there's a tip or a project, a road project that's specifically in the district of that county councilman, that he should be notified, because Tim had the wall project, he wasn't told about it, he didn't know about it, it failed, and it was nonsense, because he worked so hard on that last week.
Yeah.
And it wasn't right, and so they didn't even have the courtesy to call him and let him know. And you can say, well, yeah, we get these agendas, well, we all have jobs. I mean, this is a part-time job.
Right.
And it's hard to follow all that stuff. So I think a courtesy call would be helpful for administration or whomever, highways or whatever, say, by the way, you got this project coming before the road board on the wall project, $300,000, whatever it is, which Tim's worked on for a year, and they 2 years, and they don't even tell him about it, and it failed, because he wasn't there to defend it.
so this came through the,
Oh, you mean it was
help
on
me
the
understand this a
Tom,
little bit
Tim,
better.
tell him.
road board.
road board agenda?
Yeah, it was discussed at the road board.
So
And you
this
didn't
was a
know it
road
was
board
going to be?
item?
That's
It
why I
was
think we
discussed
need
at the county
agendas.
road board, and I had no idea. I was told
Was
that.
it not on the county road board agenda?
I'll be honest with you, I don't get online and check agendas. I mean,
Okay.
We,
I just don't.
just send
Well,
it to
who's
me.
got time for that? You don't. I mean, we'd be on a computer all day looking at stuff if we had to do that.
Well, you know,
Just send it to us.
again, I don't really want to give these ladies any more work, but I know that in the past, we used to always get the planning and zoning agenda. I think we still do, okay? I don't know if there'd be any additional work for the road board, you know, to send it to us. Now, we still have to open up our emails and look at it, but, you know,
I don't think I've ever gotten the agenda of the planning and zoning.
And board of zoning adjustments too. I mean, just everything that's coming up that's, I mean, I don't know if I need the retirement board or anything like that, but,
Well,
That's why I
with all
listed
due
these two.
respect, I would say those really aren't council rules. that's more of, we can work that out with staff
Yeah.
Okay.
and just make the request of staff, and staff can send you the agendas of any county board that meets.
Fair enough.
We can make that work. Any other thoughts on council rules?
I quit.
Going once?
I quit.
Okay. With that, that'll wrap up work session on council rules. Mr. Brazel, we have miscellaneous, which is listed on our work session. I think what you're bringing up qualifies.
Well, the charter, we have a charter, as you all know, and,
Yeah.
in the charter,
Today's the first day I started feeling
in the charter, the directors of the certain different departments have to live in
Took a
St.
while
Charles
to find
County.
the bleed, too.
And
Can you pull
if
that
you
mic
were-
toward you?
You're my...
the directors who are in St. Charles County, they have to live in St. Charles County. That's the rule. And I can't remember the time, I don't remember stuff like this, but 3 or 4 years ago, there was discussion of putting that on the ballot.
We did.
We did.
And it got voted
It
down.
failed by 78%.
Yeah.
And we do have directors, interim directors in this county that's been 2 and 3 years. And I was making a conversation a year or so ago, so bring it up since there's new council members, or 2 years ago, that if we're gonna have interim directors for 2 and 3 years, then the council should have a review process where who they interview, every 6 months, who they interview, or something like that, just because these interim directors for 2 and 3 years, it's a complete violation of our charter. And if we're not gonna follow, if we don't follow this to charter, we can't pick and choose what we like. And so it is what it is. And it went to the voted people and failed by 78%. So if that's our charter, then that's what we have to stick by, and we're not. And so when you have charter rules and certain people follow them and certain people don't, then why do we even have them? I mean, why are we even, and it's been a concern of mine. And so if we're gonna be true to the charter, true to our council rules, then that's what we need to do. And so that particular issue is a true issue.
Here would be my question, and this is something that you can help weigh in on. Does the charter say interim does have to be in the county, or does the charter put a time frame on an interim? Either of the above.
I believe the time frame that's within the charter talks about council approval, and so the interim is placed before you to approve or reject, and once you have done that, then the interim serves until somebody else is appointed.
So I
So the
believe,
charter does not
don't
have-
we have to come back after, because I think we did this for both you and for the health director. If you serve as an interim, don't we have to come back in 6 months?
That's the
and we
time
went-
limit that I'm talking about, yes. sir.
Right, so we
That's-
approved.
I've never seen it though, every 6 months. I would agree
No,
with that.
it's not every 6 months. It comes back after 6 months, and they get approved, and then after that 6 months, there's not anything in the charter about going forward.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying.
No,
that
I understand
I'm
what
not
you're saying.
saying you're wrong. I'm just clarifying, I don't think we currently have charter language that addresses what you're talking about.
Well, then it should be reviewed every 6 months on a consent agenda or however, because what we're doing is we're circumventing the voters on that issue. We're just ignoring what they failed. So we're either gonna stick by it or not stick by it, but to me, that's what bothers me about it. We voted on that and it failed miserably, to allow people to
For
be.
directors.
Correct.
Yeah, directors have to leave. Now, I don't believe the director of administration does not have to live in the county, correct? So ironically, the director of administration does not have to be a county resident, but everybody else does. But after the interim is approved, after that 6 months, there's currently not charter language.
So is that charter, or should it be a review, should it be an ordinance that they gotta be reviewed every 6 months to show that they're having progress in someone who is a resident? in the
That would be
county?
a charter change, so it would have to go to the voters, correct?
That's my understanding.
It would have to go to the voters to be able to change that. Because anytime you're doing a change in the language of the charter, the voters are going to have to be the ones who do it. To your point, it went to the voters about the director, but the interim language was not included in that issue. Points well taken, though. Any other thoughts on this discussion?
but thanks for bringing it up.
Okay. So I think that gets back to, is it every 10 years we can put together a charter commission? So every 10 years, we can put together a charter commission that can be studied on things that need to be changed in the charter or should be addressed in the charter. And then if the charter commission, there is a procedure that goes through that, and then that would go, whatever charter changes would go to the voters to be approved with those charter changes.
When
That's-
was the last time we did that? Do we know?
I don't
either.
I don't recall anybody asking for one.
Can we form that now?
Baker has.
No, I think it's done every, is it every 0 year?
Every year ending in 0. And so in 2000, and every 10 years thereafter, the county council will submit to the voters a question, shall there be a charter amendment commission to amend the charter?
So 2030 would be our next opportunity to do a charter change. 2030, according to the current charter, 2030 would be our next opportunity
To
for a
form
charter
a
commission.
Charter change commission. yes.
Charter change commission.
Is that 10-year rule? Is that a charter? Because I do not remember that at
It's
all.
within the charter, yes.
Yes.
Is that how we've always done it?
It's been in the original charter from 92.
I don't remember that, but I don't know. I guess it is.
Yeah.
3 times.
Right. So you've only had 2010, 20. There's only been 3 opportunities to redo it. Any other thoughts? Any other topics? With that, we will close the work session. We will take a 10-minute break, and we will be back with the meeting at 7 o'clock.
I know.
You want to talk to us?
Yeah. Talk about your resolution.
Sure.
do not have a council rule that says you can meet on more than that. You got them right here? They're the rules we operate under. It's already in here, and it is in the ordinance. It's in the ordinance. Why would they write you a ticket?
Basically, no, I don't. It's a tough part.
What are you talking about? Tax levy separate. Tax levy separate.
Yes, sir. I just talked to
St. Charles.
You said St. Louis. No, you said St. Louis City.
We did.
Oh. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's St. Charles County Monday, September 29th meeting. Trying to get everybody rallied back. We are a talkative bunch tonight for some reason. Look at us. We are going to start off tonight with our invocation. Barry Bales, the Public Information Officer for St. Charles County Police Department, is going to lead us in that. And we will have our Pledge of Allegiance from Councilman Joe Brazel. If you please stand and remove your caps.
Let us pray. God, we thank you for the freedom to meet together tonight, to gather to discuss and address issues for our community. We're asking for the peace of heaven to come upon this gathering, for wisdom, for guidance, for understanding, for a sensitivity to you above all else. Keep us and guide us in your perfect will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Please call the roll.
Councilman Swanson.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel.
Here.
Councilman Hammond. Councilman Elam.
Here.
Councilman Hollander.
Here.
Councilwoman York.
Here.
Councilman Baker.
Here.
I want to start off by wishing Councilman Hammond the best. He is under the weather tonight, so he is not able to join us. We will start off with a public hearing fixing and establishing 2025 tax rates for St. Charles County government. Any speakers?
Arnie Dienoff.
Mr. Chair, I just want to inquire a rule issue. I just want to be on the same page. State law and state case law also states that there are no time limits in time frame or restrictions on talking about tax levy on the public hearing. Are we on the same page?
We are.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate. And I'm here to talk about the notice of public hearing on our tax levy. Our county has seen a dramatic, huge increase in our property taxes, and especially our assessed valuation. In the last decade, most people's assessed valuation has doubled, and that is a true fact. Our county assessor, according to the rules and promulgated rules and regulations set up by the Missouri Tax Commission, our residents have seen a 7 to a 28% increase depending on where you are in the county, what pockets. Some pockets grew a lot more than other pockets, but most of St. Charles County saw in the range of a 7 to a 15% tax levy increase. As we all know, taxes are at an all-time high, about 57. Somebody talking over there?
Please continue.
About 57 cents on every income is paid to some form of a tax at the federal, state, county, local, and special district level, including special taxing districts such as CIDs, community improvement districts, transportation improvement district, or transportation development districts, and neighborhood improvement districts. I applaud the finance department for putting the notice
and all of the numbers from the last previous year on the county's website. It's a big improvement in terms of financial transparency and openness to our county residents. We also need to take into effect the Hancock Amendment. The county should not be bringing in any more tax revenue than what was brought in 2023 or 2024 fiscal years collected by the county collector. As a matter of fact, when it comes to our last two tax levies, since we are highly reliant on sales tax, which has hit every year a record-breaking year than the year previous for the last 15 years of sales tax, I would like to see the county council zero out and abolish our county road and bridge tax levy and our dispatch and alarm known as communications or 911 dispatching. That we zero those out in the next 5 years in 1/5 of increments. So that'd be 20% decrease this year, 20% next year, so on and so on. And so for this year, I would recommend that the tax levy for the road and bridge fund be set at 0.1200 of 100 assessed valuation. And for the dispatch and alarm fund, that it be set at 0.0200 per 100 assessed valuation, giving our residents a tax break, which they desperately deserve in these economic and high taxing times, and especially since we're most reliant on our sales tax versus personal property and or real estate tax. As a matter of fact, I'd like to see our county abolish countywide our personal property tax and have that absorbed by the real estate tax. For those reasons, and with the amounts that I mentioned, I'd like the council to set those two tax levy rates at the rates that I had recommended. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next speaker.
That was the final speaker.
With that, that will close our public hearing on the tax rates, and that will get us to public comments. First speaker.
The first speaker is Jen Olson regarding resolution number 2510.
Public hearing should go before public comment.
Oh, my bad. I thought, we just
Oh,
did
I'm
the public
sorry.
hearing. I thought maybe I missed something.
Excuse me, I was
There was just one speaker.
confused with the presentation.
Okay. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. Ms. Olson.
Hello, I'm speaking tonight in support of Resolution 2510 in
Jen,
honor of...
hang on a second. Timer. Sorry. Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
I'm speaking tonight in support of Resolution 2510 in honor of Charlie Kirk. I also want to welcome those who disagree. Thanks for showing up. I'm sure you'll get up here and regurgitate some twisted micro quote from Charlie Kirk to try to paint him as something he wasn't, but it only makes you look ignorant, divisive, and heartless. If you actually listened to an entire Charlie Kirk conversation, you'd know how wrong you are. And what's your end goal here? Probably to perpetuate division. Charlie spent his life trying to get us to talk to each other and learn from each other. One of his main goals in life was to restore the American family. He brought more people to Jesus than anyone in my lifetime. And you've undoubtedly come here to condemn him. What does that say about you? Charlie wasn't an old man who died of a heart attack or an alleged criminal shot during a police encounter. He wasn't killed by a drunk driver. Charlie was an upstanding, hardworking Christian and freedom fighter who spent his life just demonstrating and encouraging civil debate. He was publicly executed in front of thousands of young people in a brutal act of domestic terrorism for exercising his right to free speech, and it was broadcast around the world. He was killed because a deranged coward listened to and believed some of the same lies that you will likely rattle off if you step up to the microphone tonight. We've seen this playbook over and over again. Now is not the time, and Charlie Kirk is not the guy to hang your condemnation hat on. The world is grieving the loss of Charlie Kirk and the attack on our God-given right to free speech. It's not just St. Charles County. Let us honor him. You don't have to, but just do everyone a favor and please stand down. After Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1968, for over 15 years there was consistent political resistance to his official national memorialization. President Ronald Reagan finally signed the federal holiday into law in 1983. If you believe that the resistance was wrong then, don't choose pettiness now. Do the right thing and let us memorialize Charlie. Whether or not you understand it or like it, Charlie Kirk is this generation's MLK Jr. There will be and already are statues and memorials that have been permanently affixed on college campuses and in communities across this country to honor Charlie and his work and mission. And one day I hope they make October 14th, Charlie's birthday, a permanent federal holiday for our nation, to remember why it's so important that we never stop talking to each other and that we must protect and exercise our God-given rights as Americans. So I ask you again, please let us honor this man's life, his legacy that has forever changed this country. And if you've got it in you, please join us in solidarity, because it could have been me, it could have been your friend, your brother, your sister, or your child. I ask the council for a unanimous yes vote on this resolution, because we are all Charlie Kirk.
Next
Susan Clark. Susan Clark. On Resolution 2510.
Good evening. I want to thank the previous speaker for that kind and inclusive discussion, but I'm going to exercise my freedom of speech as well. And in doing so, I am going to share quotes and statements that Charlie Kirk has made over the years. I have them written down. I have the citations for the videos and the dates that they were all made. You're welcome to look at it if you'd like. Let's start with, capital punishment. In a discussion on February 15th, 2024, he was speaking with 3 other people on his podcast, and they were discussing guillotines and when they were last used, and that was in the late 20th century till 1977. And the consensus was that we should be televising capital punishment. Kirk's first statement on the subject, and televised. By the way, you could force the government to watch it. You could have it like brought to you by Coca-Cola. And no, I'm not kidding, by the way. I would totally tune in to see some pedo get their head chopped off, convicted by a jury. I'm talking about a real thing. And then they went on to discuss whether children should be forced to watch that as well. He didn't come out in favor of a particular age, but he did think children should see it at some point. He quoted a Bible verse on 11 June 2024 on an episode of the Charlie Kirk Show about stoning gay people, and called it God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matters. On the 11th of September 2023, in a church speech he said that trans people in America are the throbbing middle finger of God. I will spare you the gesture, but you know what that means. He then smiled and directly addressed University of Pennsylvania swimmer, a trans woman, by name, telling her, "You hear that? You're an abomination to God." That video is all over the internet. Then this insightful economic analysis. This was the same day. There's a direct connection to inflation and the trans issue. You say, Charlie, come on. They couldn't be further apart. No, they're exactly the same. They're the same in this aspect. When you believe that men can become women, why wouldn't you also believe that you could print wealth? If you believe that someone can change their gender, why wouldn't you also believe that money is wealth?
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
Teresa Litznich on Resolution 2510.
Hello, I'm Teresa Linsnick, resident in St. Charles. I am asking you to vote yes on Resolution 2510, a resolution condemning political violence and honoring free speech and civil debate. The question is whether or not to condemn violence in the name of political views. I would think we all can agree to condemn political violence. Another question is whether or not to honor Charlie Kirk for his example of bold debate in the public sphere. A little about Charlie. Charlie sought objective truth. He asked those who disagreed with him to get in the front of the line. Charlie honored people for telling their views while being honest about what he saw as objective truth. And when people in the crowd who believed as Charlie did would hackle, Charlie would calm them down so people he disagreed with could have their say. Charlie focused on facts to debate his point. Did you know that he read 100 books a year on important issues? And he read history as well. He aimed to get America back to our Constitution. He knew that without one nation under God, we cannot be a civil nation. Some of you may not agree with the opinions of Charlie Kirk, but even he stood up for you to say what you believe. Charlie, civil debate is what made this country great. From our founders who had heated debates even of what to include in our Constitution, to civil rights, to local elections, to school board races, to ballot measures, etc. Passionate civil debate has been a tradition in America that has served us well. Our founding fathers did not want a ruling class to cancel individuals' right to speak their mind. Charlie made debate popular. He gave a space for college and high school students to say what they believed and even get it on social media. Charlie also realized that one nation under God, that if we are not one nation under God, we will be one nation under state. Eventually, that leads to communism. Our freedoms come from God, and we need to keep them there. So please vote yes on Resolution 2510. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Patricia Tracy on Resolution 2510.
I'm sorry, say again?
Patricia Tracy.
Hi, I'm asking you to vote no on Resolution 2510. On race issues, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. The Charlie Kirk Show, January 23rd, 2024. Happening all the time in urban America, prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more, May 19th, 2023. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence or is she there because of affirmative action, January 3rd, 2024? If we would have said that Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. Now they're coming out and saying it for us. They don't have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to be taken seriously, July 13th, 2023. On gender and feminism. Reject feminism. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge. Discussing views of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's engagement, August 26, 25. He also stated, women should not vote differently than their husbands and should prioritize marriage and career and children over their careers. On gun violence, I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect other God-given rights. It's a prudent deal. It is rational, April 5th, 2023. On immigration, the American Democratic Party hates this country. They want to see it collapse. They love it when America becomes less white, March 20th, 2024. The Great Replacement Strategy, which is well underway every single day in our southern border, is a strategy to replace white rural America with something different, March 1st, 2024. On religion, there's no separation of church and state. It's a fabrication, it's a fiction made up by secular humanists, July 6, 2022. On Jews, Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open-border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. Jews control the colleges, the nonprofits, the movies, Hollywood, all of it, October 2023, echoing entrenched conspiracy theories of Jewish institutional control. All of this should speak to why it is absurd to want to introduce a resolution to honor the memory and legacy of Charlie Kirk. Simply a podcaster, as you can hear from his exact statements, is a racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, white Christian nationalist. If this resolution was just a statement condemning political violence, that would have been less offensive, but also not necessary, as no one I know condones political violence. But instead, the majority of the resolution is about honoring Kirk's legacy. A couple other names of liberals who died by political violence were named in order to make this resolution appear balanced. But then why weren't resolutions introduced for them? Voting for this resolution for Kirk and not other victims of political violence feels like political grandstanding at best and willful desire to create more conflict and division between the citizens of St. Charles County at worst. Considering our country looks closer to a civil war every day, isn't that the last thing this council should want?
Thank you, ma'am.
David Robertson, resolution number 2510.
I'm speaking in support of this resolution to honor Charlie Kirk. I met Charlie Kirk 3 times. I worked for his organization for a month, knocked 1,500 doors for Turning Point USA back in October. And I'm just very grateful this council has brought this resolution to the fore. You know, I think we need to be honest about and you know, have foresight to understand who Charlie Kirk actually is. He's a Christian martyr and American hero. You know, his people think of him as a political activist, but really his political activism was an outgrowth of his deep Christian faith. He felt called to do this. He had a momentous impact on this nation. You could argue that he swung an entire youth generation to be the most conservative or generation in many years, in 50 years. He had a massive impact in the 2024 presidential election. And he fought for truth. He fought for the inalienable rights that are God-given by our founders. Honestly, it seems almost crazy to me that anyone would not honor this resolution. I didn't agree with everything Charlie Kirk said, but most of it I did. But to deny the impact he's had in this country and his motives, he always sought peaceful debate and dialogue. And you know, the enemies of that sort of dialogue are the ones who gunned him down. So I'm just very grateful you brought this resolution. There seems to be a lot of hate and anger, and people bring up certain quotes of his. And I just want to say one more thing about that. You know, people have called Charlie a racist. You know what's racist? What's racist is DEI, CRT, wokeism. That's racist. To pick people based on their skin color, Charlie was fighting against racism. So I'm just grateful you brought this resolution. I'm speaking in favor again. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
Adam on bill number 5415.
Good evening. I'm Adam Bear with Rowell's Company. Dave Voles is here. He's going to be presenting about the forced property in our proposal. I'm here if you have any questions, and we're excited for it. Appreciate your time, and yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Dave Voles on bill number 5415.
The aforementioned.
Hi, my name is David Voles, and Adam just stole my thunder here, so that's what I was going to say. Just that we're here to answer any questions you might have on Bill 5415, and I just wanted to point out that it meets the master plan. The staff recommended approval, the planning commission recommended approval, and now I'd actually like to change hats real quick and just say that I didn't know that this Charlie Kirk issue was going to come up, but the man was killed for believing the identical things that I believe, and that's scary. And I haven't read the resolution, so I don't know what it says, but just wanted to say that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cynthia Lopane on bill number 5415.
Good evening, council members. In August, I wrote a letter to the Planning and Zoning Commission opposing the rezoning from agricultural to residential at 2630 Forest Drive. On August 20th, I was physically present at the Planning and Zoning meeting where I once again opposed the rezoning. And again on September 8th, I stood in front of all of you and opposed the building of 7 homes on 3.18 acres located at 2630 Forest Drive. And here I am again for the final time opposing the project. 7 new homes with a minimum of 2 cars per household will add another 14 vehicles to nearby roads and Highway DD, a highway that will be used to access Forest Drive, a highway that has had tremendous increase in traffic flow with no infrastructure improvements. The 14 vehicles will also add an increase in traffic flow on Forest Drive, a street with obvious erosion issues. There are over 15 mature trees located at 2630 Forest Drive, trees that have been there most likely since the inception of the subdivision. Trees that will likely be cut down to accommodate 7 new homes. Trees mitigate greenhouse gases. 7 homes will not. Trees mitigate noise pollution, air pollution, so we can breathe clean air. 7 homes will not. and trees mitigate the urban heat, soil erosion, and stormwater. 7 homes will not. And speaking of stormwater, issues were addressed by concerned residents at Planning and Zoning meeting about stormwater runoff and current sewer system. As a resident that lives near 2634 Drive, I am deeply concerned about water issues. Lastly, I only ask the council to consider the comments I made on September 8th and here today, and I ask that the council once again put themselves in the position of the residents who live near and in Weldon Springs Garden subdivision, a subdivision that includes a lot located at 2634 Drive. Residents moved to Weldon Springs Garden subdivision for a reason. It is rural. Their 2, 3, 4+ acre lots resemble park-like settings, and one house sits on one lot. And the residents of Weldon Springs Garden subdivision have remained there for that very same reason. I only ask that one house be built at 2634 Drive so that the integrity of the subdivision remains intact. I thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jeff Simmons, Bill number 5418.
Good evening. Jeff Simmons with Bax Engineering here on behalf of Joe Brazel for his property in Defiance. So about a month ago, we were before the Board of Adjustment requesting a variance for the lot size for a septic system. Joe owns 2 properties next to each other. These are 2 separately platted lots and have been for well over 100 years. So the fact that these are 2 separate properties, we're requesting that Joe be able to build a septic system on both properties. We are able to design a septic system. I don't do that. However, there are engineers who do the design of the septic systems and are able to do so. In this area of Defiance, this property is not the only one that is below the 1 acre threshold. There are several, including existing properties that contain a bar and grill. That is located on 0.25 acres. There's also a bed and breakfast that has, let me get it right, 4 kitchens and 5 bathrooms. That is also located on a lot that is similar in size to what we're requesting approval of. There is no adjacent ground that's available for purchase. There's no other way to get additional ground. We did get approval for vacation for right-of-way in an alley in the back that did allow the property to be increased in size as much as it possibly could. So basically what we're asking for is approval to build a single-family home in addition to the existing single-family home, and that sanitary sewer on that lot has already been upgraded. And I'll be here to answer any questions when the bill comes up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regina Orr, Convention Center parking.
Good evening again, council members. Mr. Schulte is joining me here, if that's all right. He had signed a piece of paper. Come on. First of all, it has been a while since we've been in the progress of getting a resolution for the convention center parking issues in our neighborhood, right? In a perfect world, you know, I feel like what would happen would be that the convention center would be forced to limit the number of attendees, right? Or that the city of St. Charles would build a parking garage that supposedly may or may not happen. But in lieu of that, I appreciate your time and effort in reviewing the Bill 5421 that would allow our residents to have a parking permit, you know, to help control the traffic during these large conventions. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a positive. Will there be people that oppose it? Will there be inconveniences? I'm sure that there will be. Life is not the same as what it was, I can't tell you how many years ago, because then you'd know how old I am. But the neighborhood used to be a very quiet area. But since, with the economic growth of St. Charles and the building of the convention center, obviously the traffic has increased quite a bit. So I appreciate your consideration, and hopefully this bill will pass to get the permits given to the residents. Do you want to say anything?
No. I just concur with what she says, and thank you all very much for your kind attendance to the situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Arnie Dienoff on agenda items.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Arnie C., AC Dienoff, County Public Advocate. I'm not very happy with the county council wanting to limit public testimony that I heard in the workshop. It made me cry. It made me cry that people defend our country worldwide for freedoms and to speak our grievances before our elected officials. You want to crack down on public comment, and you're aiming it towards me in particular and discriminating against me. During the small, short time of 3 minutes, you're crushing our sacred freedom of speech to address grievances with elected officials, and I will take it to circuit court, whatever you decide, if you're going to crack down and limit public comment, because it's wrong, and it's not what our country is built on and what our forefathers who founded St. Charles County believe in. Now I want to move to the ordinance involving our county elected official, Mr. Brazel. I believe highly in county ethics. I believe that there should be no conflicts of interest with county public officials doing private transactions or private businesses of the county. He wants a variance at 2434 Highway 94, Missouri Highway 94 South. It's 0.33 acres, resulting in 2 houses on 2 lots, where he wants to split 0.66 acres. Our county code says to have a septic system when no sewer service is offered, that you have to have a minimum of 3 acres. If county staff or there's reasons why, they can county community development and our county septic system coordinator can reduce it with circumstances down to 1 acre. This is 1/3 of 1 acre. County staff has pointed out 1, 2, 3, and 4 of reasons why to deny this application. On May 5th, 2025 meeting of the County Board of Zoning Adjustment, it failed by a vote of 3 to 1. By state law, Chapter 89 of the revised state statutes, you need a minimum of 4 out of 5 votes of the board. County council may affirm, reverse, modify, amend in whole or in part any determination of the Board of Zoning Adjustment. That doesn't give you a free pass to play politics and play favors for another public official. County staff highly recommends that the county council approve the attached bill to affirm the Board of Zoning Adjustment's denial of the application. Mr. Brazel has a choice: either be in private business, building homes, building rental properties, giving out short-term rentals, or be a public servant making over $20,000 annually, a lifetime pension, travel, health benefits, and this is kind of similar to the Nathan Bibb controversy in O'Fallon, where Mr. Bibb was forced by the public to resign his public office.
Thank you, Mr. Dino.
Thank you.
Your time has expired.
The final speaker.
That would move us on to oral report from the county executive.
I believe Matthew Seeds has a report for the council, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Seeds, welcome.
Thank you, members of council, council executive, or county executive, Elman. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the Information Systems Department. Before we dive into the department's operations and priorities, maybe.
Mr. Chairman, I don't feel so bad now when I have a problem with all this new technology.
Unbelievable.
It's ironic when the IT director has IT issues, isn't it?
Unbelievable. It set me up.
I'm sorry.
So I'm going to have to.
We can turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
generally what I'm told all the time.
Or jiggle it.
Good on. It's not me.
There you go.
Thank you. All right. Oh, thank you. Before we dive into the department's operations and priorities, I want to start by discussing the foundation on which the department was founded or established. Our department was formally created under Section 126 of the Code of Ordinances, which outlines our core responsibilities. And in short, it states that the IS shall manage the full life cycle of information technology assets and services used by county departments. This language makes it clear that IS is not just a support function. We are a centralized strategic department responsible for overseeing all of the county's technology infrastructure, and our work touches every department and service in the county. And with that in mind, the rest of this presentation will give you an overview of how we fulfill the mission laid out here, what's ahead for our department, and the value we provide the county as a whole. So to successfully fulfill our mission, we have 3 key areas of focus. Technical support. Our primary goal here is to keep the business running smoothly by promptly addressing and resolving technical issues, as you saw tonight. Development. This area focuses on deploying new software solutions that meets evolving business needs. It also involves expanding the functionality of existing applications. And maintenance. Ongoing system and application updates are essential for continuous improvement. Maintenance also prioritizes security measures to protect data and infrastructure against emerging threats. And we'll dive into these areas in a moment. But first, as shown here, our department supports a vast and complex technology environment. We manage 71 network service locations across the county, represented by the blue dots on the map. We ensure connectivity and reliable service wherever it's needed. Supporting over 1,200 employees, our team is responsible for keeping everyone connected and productive. Our infrastructure includes 127 network switches that direct traffic efficiently throughout our network, over 3,500 connected devices, which includes everything from desktop computers and desk phones to cell phones and public Wi-Fi devices, and 228 servers, which provide critical services and host various applications. Finally, our department manages 106 software applications, each essential to different aspects of county operations, and we do all of this with 37 full-time employees. So back to the first area of focus is technical support. It makes up nearly half of our overall workload. This reflects the critical role our team plays in keeping day-to-day operations running smoothly across all departments. Last year, we successfully completed almost 9,000 calls for service, and this year the volume has increased as we are on pace to reach 10,000 completed calls for service, demonstrating consistent demand for our services. And while the overall totals are shown there, I think what's most important is that our team resolves almost 2/3 of these issues on the same day. The second area of focus is our development area, and this is where we work closely with departments to meet their evolving technology needs. Development includes everything from new application requests and building data visualization dashboards to adding new features to existing software. Development makes up about 17% of our department's overall workload, which reflects the careful planning and effort needed for these projects to be successful. So our process starts with gathering detailed requirements from the departments, and based on these, we draft requests for proposals to find the right vendors or solutions. From there, we handle contract negotiations before moving on into the implementation phase, ensuring that the software is configured correctly and is running smoothly. Currently, we have 67 active projects underway, and in 2024, we completed 81 projects, and so far this year, we've completed 32. Now let's focus on maintenance, a critical area that makes up almost 35% of our department's workload. This includes installing patches, applying firmware updates, upgrading application versions, and rebooting key equipment to ensure system health and performance. We utilize a change management system that these maintenance tasks are documented and scheduled in. Last year, we completed 228 changes, and already this year, we've completed 242. And the value of this work is clear. So in IT, nines is a standard measure which refers to the number of nines in the uptime percentage of a system, with more nines signifying higher reliability and less downtime. And in 2024, we achieved at minimum a 99.8% uptime in the following areas that are listed, all of which reflect a highly stable and reliable technology environment. Included in this table is what each percentage equates to in terms of the amount of time outside of maintenance windows that these services were offline last year. As I mentioned before, maintenance prioritizes security measures, so I want to talk about cybersecurity efforts. Safeguarding our data and protecting our employees' information is a top priority. So here are some of the key components on how we secure our environment. First, we continuously monitor for any signs of unauthorized access to employee credentials or sensitive systems. Our tools alert us to suspicious login attempts, credential leaks on the dark web, or unusual access patterns. Second, we regularly scan our systems, applications, and infrastructure for known vulnerabilities. Once identified, these are prioritized and patched based on risk severity. And between January and July, we have mitigated over 12,500 vulnerabilities in our organization. Third, our firewalls are configured to block malicious traffic and enforce access policies. We also monitor traffic to detect anomalies, which gives us visibility into what's entering and leaving our network. Every day, we block over 10 million data packets that are potentially malicious or are unauthorized access attempts. And lastly, when an event is detected, whether it's an alert from our monitoring systems or a reported concern, our operations team follows a structured incident response process. We work with our third-party managed security provider, and we also maintain detailed logs to support audits and improvement. In addition, our operation team sends out multiple phishing emails to test and train our employees and locate any potential areas of weakness, and we participate in multiple security audits to help us improve our security posture. So as we wrap up, I want to highlight some of the key challenges our department faces as we continue to support and advance technology throughout the county. First, there's the ongoing challenge of balancing innovation with daily support. And while we're committed to deploying new solutions and improving systems, a large portion of our time is still spent on day-to-day technical support. Finding that balance between keeping the lights on and moving technology forward is something that we constantly work to manage. We also face issues with unauthorized technology use. These are tools or services that are acquired or are used outside of IS oversight. And while the intent is often good, these can introduce serious security risks and increase support complexity. Employee-initiated cybersecurity events, such as clicking on phishing emails, unsafe downloads, or sharing credentials, also remains a concern. And it will always be a concern because we support over 1,200 employees. And despite regular training and monitoring, this remains an area that could cause a security incident in the future. And finally, we're seeing a steady rise in software as a service license fees. Many of our core systems are now subscription-based, and the cost of maintaining access to these essential tools continues to grow year after year. Remember, we manage 106 different applications, and each of those costs continue to rise annually. We will continue to work with departments, the executive office, and the council so that together we can keep the county's technology secure, stable, and future-ready. And that's your IS department.
Any questions?
We certainly appreciate all you do.
I just have a comment. I appreciate all the work you do, and I know it's not easy to get this ever-changing evolution of the people trying to hack our system, and I understand you do a great job, and we wouldn't want anybody, in my opinion, handling this department rather than you, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yay, Matthew.
Thank you.
Did you have something?
No, I just said
No.
yay, Matthew.
All right, with that, thank you, Mr. Coons. County Executive, anything further to add?
No, sir.
That'll wrap up the oral report from the County Executive. Bring us to the consent agenda. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
I'd like to remove the extra $300,000 on the construction management on the jail.
Construction management on the jail. So facilities.
Facilities, yes, sir.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any other items to be removed? I'd entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion to approve in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, Mr. Brazel, we will go to facilities.
I'd just like to know, Christine, yes, can you explain this to us a little bit, what's going on with this?
Absolutely. So when we first brought the jail project, we had phase 1 and phase 2, the 5th floor kitchen work and then the 3rd floor. Well, while we were in that design process, actually the architecture firm DLR, we started talking to them about a feasibility and starting to do design work for what we call phase 3. Phase 3 actually takes the existing housing units, the balance of the housing units that are on the 3rd floor, and go ahead and renovate those, combine a few of them to make them more efficient, fewer officers required to oversee the inmate population, and update these housing units for a variety of things, HVAC and security systems, but also the internal workings of it to make it more efficient for manning the inmates. So the piece that we did have that phase of the design work approved by DLR at the time their contract was done. This is for the owner's representation in order to manage that project. It does cut down to about half-time versus what we're experiencing with them now. So I do feel like these fees are appropriate for the amount of work that we have, but that work is going to take us nearly 2 years to complete.
What's the total cost of the third phase is what you're saying? This is for the third phase?
Third phase.
What's the total projected cost or budget?
There's some variables in this. PER, who also will come to you to obtain an approval to continue to work with them on that phase 3 project. They have it estimated, just their fees, about $10 to $12 million. So this is on top of that. And we did have some fees with DLR that we're working through. So the total all-in cost that we're going to receive is going to be anywhere from 15 to about 17. We're trying to nail down that based upon the design that we land on.
So if it's at 10 or 12 million, then they're charging 30% for construction management?
300,000, it's less than 20.
If it's 10 million, 300,000 would be.
Yes, but it's an all-in cost because they're also overseeing the architecture. So you include the architecture with their oversight. So those fees tack on as well. And it's $10 to $12 million of just construction.
The construction management, these are owner reps, correct?
They are.
Are they doing the architecture as well?
They are overseeing the architecture.
Okay, so.
Yeah. And in an environment like this, I kind of know where you're going in terms of typically you're not seeing those kinds of fees associated to it. But in this environment, the oversight is dramatically increased because this is an operational environment that is very strict. So trying to keep everybody on task and keeping everything moving and making sure the security protocols are followed, making sure that the architecture components are being met as well in timeliness to be able to get this thing going and moving constantly takes a lot of oversight.
But that's a lot. Typically it's 7%, 7 to 10 for construction management, and you're at 30%.
For construction management, I would agree with you. It is 7 to 10%.
That's just crazy high. I mean.
It's right in alignment with what we're seeing with what the fees are now and the fees that we saw previously.
The only thing that concerns me with this the way we're doing this is they're in the job, they're doing it, and it's hard for us to say, well, no, we can't use them anymore in phase 3 because we already got them in place. So it's almost like they're gigging us on this, you know? I mean, one could see it that way.
One could see it that way, but let me give you one example of where I feel that Avis & Young is really doing an excellent job, and they are doing something that I think most don't. When we did the 5th floor, we divided the fees based on hours, et cetera, and percentage of the total contract that they had. Their contract is nearly $1 million for the phase 1 and 2. When we got to the end of that, and about 300,000 of those fees were for 5th floor alone, they are actually moving $71,000 of fees from that 5th floor project to the 3rd floor project, just to make sure that they are upfront, open to the fact that they didn't spend it. They expected to incur those hours, but they did not incur those hours. So they ran that down, and I agreed we need to move that over to the 3rd floor. We'll continue to do that. If they don't spend the fees and don't need the hours, they'll continue to keep moving, and we will see a credit in the end if they don't spend it, if they don't need it.
But the other thing is and I'll try to be brief here, I know but you got a construction manager, then you have a general contractor, right? And then you have an architect. So the general contractor is really supposed to be overseeing the job. Then we're paying this guy 30% to oversee the general contractor. It just seems like there's a lot of stack of people in here. Then you're going to add it up to about 50% of cost, which is crazy high.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where are you getting 30%? If it's $300,000 and you said it's 10 to 12 million?
12 to $15 million in total for the project.
But you said 10 million, she said 10 to 12.
Just the construction fees for PERC, but we have the additional fees.
That's 3%.
Oh, it's 3%.
That's 3%, not 30.
Oh, so my math.
I mean, I'm from Arkansas, so don't bet on me on math, but
it just seems like a lot.
Is that right? I go to the school teachers when we're doing math.
Right.
We teach history.
Sorry,
No, I think you're right, Mike, you're right.
I was just trying to figure out, I was going back and looking, I'm like, where are you getting 30? I'm not getting 30.
No, you are correct. I'll back off on that number. I just back off.
Okay.
It seems like there's a lot of people
Okay.
involved. Okay, but
Well,
we
there are
can-
a lot of people. You have the three basic key people. You've got an owner's rep, but they're overseeing an architecture and engineering firm, and they're overseeing the general contractor, which is a CM at risk. So they are overseeing a lot. And doing a project in the jail is infinitely more
complicated.
difficult.
I
It's more
understand.
complicated.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Since
that.
Mike
Any
taught me
project
on
that's being
math,
done in
then I
the
guess
jail
he's
has
right.
to be
Yes.
obviously a
And
lot
the-
more.
correct.
When we did the first phase, it was not
No, that's
occupied.
right.
As soon as we're in the occupied space, it's tenfold, much more complicated. So,
All right.
Okay.
Any other
any other
questions?
questions?
No, good job.
Thank you. With that, I would entertain a motion on the facilities.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion to approve in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is approved. That gets us through consent agenda and to resolutions. Now, both these resolutions are less than 3 pages, so thank you to our staff for reading them in their entirety tonight. We will start with Resolution 2510.
Resolution 2510, sponsored by Matt Swanson, Joe Brazel, Mike Elam, Dave Hammond, and Tim Baker. A resolution condemning political violence and honoring free speech and civil debate. Whereas the St. Charles County Council believes that political violence of any kind against anyone must be condemned, and whereas the council condemns the assassination of Charlie Kirk in the strongest possible terms as a cowardly act of violence against the principles of free speech and civil debate, and whereas whether it is Charlie Kirk, John and Yvette Hoffman, Melissa and Mark Hortman, or any other political figure, we must unite against such attacks and honor those who dedicate their lives to fostering respectful dialogue and civic engagement. And whereas the council extends its deepest condolences and sympathies to Charlie Kirk's family, including his wife Erica and their 2 young children, as well as the Turning Point USA community and all those touched by his work. And whereas the council honors Charlie Kirk's life and legacy, recognizing his unwavering commitment to constitutional principles, his leadership in empowering young Americans, and his dedication to fostering civil discourse across the nation. And whereas the council encourages the residents of St. Charles County to reflect on Charlie Kirk's contributions to civic engagement and to recommit to the values of respectful dialogue, faith, and freedom that he championed. Now therefore, be it resolved by the County Council of St. Charles County, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the St. Charles County Council strongly condemns all acts of political violence and recommits to honoring the principles of free speech and civil debate. Section 2, the council secretary shall send a certified copy of this resolution to the family of Charlie Kirk in care of Turning Point USA.
Any questions or comments? Mr.
I'd
Brown?
like to make a comment. I called Councilman Baker on this particular issue prior to St. Louis County turning this resolution down, and we decided, surely St. Louis County is going to pass this, so there's no point in us just, doing a double. And so when they turned it down, it was actually shocking and quite embarrassing, actually. And so, you get a lot of rhetoric and stuff, and you say, well, I got some emails, and why would you do this? He's not an elected official, and this and that and all this stuff. And he was a Christian leader, and he influenced a lot of young college kids and high school kids in a positive manner, for open debate and freedom of speech. We honor a lot of people. We honored Martin Luther King, which that happened, I was 4 years old when he was killed, but even in years past, we honor him. He was never elected. He was a good man. He did some great things. Just like Jared Smith, we honored him. He's a veteran. We honor veterans all the time. So this man was a Christian warrior, and he was assassinated for it. So this is the right thing to do, and so I'm glad that the council sponsored it, and I'm very proud that you guys are on board, because this is the right thing to do and very important.
Any other questions or comments? I would note, so we say we're sending a certified copy of this to Turning Point USA, and someone asked me, why wouldn't we send it to the other folks who were mentioned, send it to their family? If anyone knows of someone in their family that we can send them a copy as well, I'm sure we wouldn't have any objections to doing that, but
Absolutely,
we don't know what their contacts are, but if someone has that to share for the public, we've been more than happy to do that. Yes, Mr. Executive.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as you all know, I'm not part of the resolution process, but I just want to express my support for the resolution. Hope you all pass it.
Thank you, sir. With that, please call the roll.
Resolution 2510, a resolution condemning political violence and honoring free speech and civil debate.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel.
Yes.
Councilman Hammond. Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
With that, Resolution 2510 passes. And that brings us to Resolution 2511.
Resolution 2511, sponsored by Mike Elam. A resolution honoring the work and accomplishments of the Katie Hessler Foundation. Whereas the County Council wishes to highlight and celebrate the work and accomplishments of the Katie Hessler Foundation, and whereas the foundation was established in memory of then 18-year-old Katie Hessler, who was senselessly murdered in an attempted robbery in North St. Louis County on August 30th, 2001. And whereas the foundation has two basic missions, one to assist teens and young adults in need of guidance and financial aid with counseling, drug and alcohol rehabilitation, teen pregnancy education and job placement, and two, to help in the fight against crime, violence, and the unlawful use of guns and narcotics. And whereas the foundation is hosting an evening of rock and country on October 17th, 2025 at the Lake Forest Country Club in celebration of their patrons, and whereas the event is sold out, but the foundation is still accepting donations at their website, kthesslerfoundation.org, and whereas the foundation's work and accomplishments are worthy of celebration. Now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of St. Charles County, Missouri as follows. Section 1. The St. Charles County Council hereby honors and celebrates the work and accomplishments of the Katie Hessler Foundation.
Any questions or comments about this resolution? No. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Resolution 25-11, a resolution honoring the work and accomplishments of the Katie Hessler Foundation. Councilman Brazel.
Yes.
Councilman Hammond. Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes, ma'am.
Resolution 2511 passes. That will get us to bills for final passage, starting with Bill 5415.
Bill number 5415, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from A Agricultural District to R1E Single Family Residential District per application RZ 25-10.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Mr. Brazel.
Yeah, this is my district, and I'm familiar with this subdivision, and these subdivisions were plotted in 1950, 1, 2, and 3 acres, maybe 4 acres too. They got multiple lots, some of a rural agriculture area. I don't believe our intent is ever to have plotted subdivisions at 2 acres or 3 acres or 5 acres. Like when we're gone in 20 years, I would hope to God that they're not dividing all those lots up too and building multiple homes. I don't think that's the intent. People moved out here because of the way it is and because of the rural characteristics, and to trample down and cram these houses in among all their large lots is just not right. It's not good zoning, so I'm 100% against this.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5415, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from A Agricultural District to R1E Single Family Residential District per application RZ 2510.
Councilman Hammond. Councilman Elam.
No.
Councilman Hollander.
No.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
No.
Councilman Brazel.
No.
Bill number 5415 fails, and that brings us to Bill 5416.
Bill number 5416, an ordinance of the County of St. Charles, Missouri approving the preliminary plat for the re-subdivision of Lot 47, Woodcliff Estates, Plat 6.
Any questions or comments about this bill?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, Mr. Baker.
Yeah, I brought this up last time. To subdivide this lot as they're proposing would just be ridiculous. There's nothing in this subdivision that that's similar to this lot size. And if you live next door to these lots and you had a 0.8 acre lot where your lot's 3 acres, I think you'd be upset. So I just ask the council to please consider that when you vote on this. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? It feels like I just heard the same comment on both sides. Please call the roll.
Bill number 5416, an ordinance of the County of St. Charles, Missouri, approving the preliminary plat for the re-subdivision of Lot 47, Woodcliff Estates, Plat 6.
Councilman Elam?
No.
Councilman Hollander?
No.
Councilwoman York?
No.
Councilman Baker?
No.
Councilman Swanson?
No, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel?
No.
Councilman Hammond?
Bill number 5416 fails. That brings us to Bill 5417.
Bill number 5417, an ordinance amending ordinance number 19-095, granting conditional use permit, CUR 19-05B, for automobile and truck sales to Benson Automotive Properties, LLC, property owner.
Any questions or comments on this bill? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5417, an ordinance amending ordinance number 19-095, granting conditional use permit, CUR 19-05B, for automobile and truck sales to Benson Automotive Properties, LLC, property owner.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilwoman York?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond? Councilman Elam?
Yes. Bill number 5417 passes. That brings us to Bill 5418.
Bill number 5418, an ordinance affirming the Board of Zoning Adjustments decision on application VAR 25-01A.
So this bill is for Mr. Brazel's property, which is why he is stepping down from the dais, because he will not be voting on this. Also, since this went to the Board of Variance before this and was denied, it will take 5 no votes. So what that means is, if you want Mr. Brazel's issue to override variance and allow him to have the septic, then you would vote no. If you disagree and you want to uphold the Board of Variance decision, you vote yes. So it's the exact opposite of what you would normally do. A yes is a no, and a no is a yes. Confused? You won't be after the next episode of Soap. If you're old enough as I am, you can remember that. With that, any discussion?
Could we call Councilman Brazel up here to kind of explain?
We can call him up there.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, a couple things that one of the gentlemen came up here and talked about. First of all, the Board of Zoning, there's supposed to be 5 members, and you have to have 4 people agree. 3 were in favor, 1 no vote. He had that wrong. Second of all, I'm not dividing a lot. These are 2 lots. When I bought the property, it came with 2 lots plotted in 1908. So there's one lot 1 and lot 2. And all the lots in the Defiance are the same size. They're done by Parsons. They're called Parsons 1, Parsons 2, Parsons 3. So all the lots down there are about a 1/4 acre lot. They're in the city. They're not in the country. They're in the city of Defiance. And so I've had 4 houses bought down there. They're junky, crabby houses, had cars and junk around them. I buy them, I clean them up. 4 of them are VRBOs. This one was an old stinky house, and we call it Stinky 1, and I got another one I call Stinky 2. That's how we refer to them. But they're going to be really nice. We remodel them to their full. So the house that's right next to this lot is the very same lot that I just had the tank engineered, and everyone down there, we put all new septic tanks. So this is no different than next door. It's just some of the rules that we have, but the UDO needs to be worked on, and Robert and Mike know that, but I can't do it before I do this, because then I'd be doing it for myself. So I'm following the whole process, doing the Board of Adjustments, doing everything else. So it would be nice to be able to use this lot as it was zoned in 1908 as a residential lot. Now, you guys know that we vacated the alley. There was an alley coming in, and there was an alley along the creek. So when we vacated that, we did at the last meeting, like most every person down there vacated their lots. I just never got around to it because I just bought that property. So once we vacated it, made the lot 1/3 of an acre, not 1/4 of an acre. So it's fairly large from some of the other lots. But like the engineer said, that there's bars down there that are 1/4 acre lots with septic tanks. Everyone down there has a septic tank. That's just the way it is. And so by saying I'm not allowed to build on this 1/4 acre lot, you're saying that Defiance is not allowed to develop any single family homes on property that's already been zoned in 1908. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense not to let someone put a house on a lot that's already been zoned as a residential lot. It's just some of our rules are not lining up with what we have in defiance. There's just a lot of issues down there with being on a created floodplain and everything else. So we abide by the rules by engineering and everything. Is it, you didn't hit the timing?
Yeah, it's not public comment, we're just asking you.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what it is. I should know that.
You've only been here 25 years.
No,
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
You would have talked slower, you mean?
So, questions?
So it seems like this would have been I mean, this should be grandfathered in. I mean, back in 19...
I was actually surprised that I had to go through this, honestly. And it's just that I met with Mike and Robert, and what we wanted to do is we wanted to make the town of Defiance more kind of similar to Cottleville with some commercial development where you have off-street parking. So I met with them with my architect and engineers, and we were going to build 100-foot with a couple condos, 2 or 3 condos, and 2 or 3 like ice cream shops and stuff like that to make it more friendly. And we worked it out. We had several meetings, and the state gave us off-street parking like Cottleville has, because Cottleville is a great community. But we kept running into obstacles. So I just went back to the old house. I fixed it all up. It's all done. I restored it. It looks great. And then this lot is next to it. It's an independent lot. You guys don't divide any lots. This is already there. It was zoned in 1908. So, that's where we're at. So I pretty much got stuck with just doing 2 residential homes, which nobody in town is complaining. They think it's great because these houses that I have been fixing up look terrible. So every one we've taken, we made it look really nice and bright. And
County Executive.
Joe, it's not in the floodplain, is it?
the back part of it is, but we're
Where
gonna
the
put-
house is gonna be is?
The house that we're gonna build it up is gonna park in the rear, and so the house will be out of the floodplain. And so we have a design where, the engineer makes everything but on this particular one, I think we agreed to put.
Is it across,
Yeah, we agreed to move
is
the
it
septic.
across the road from your other,
It's
or on the
kind of
same
across
block?
the road from the post office, you know, kind of in that area.
okay, so it's on the riverside?
It's on the riverside, yeah. But we agreed, so the Board of Adjustments agreed to, that there were 3 points, and I agreed to all this, the requirements, and they voted yes for all those. It really didn't make a lot of sense. They voted yes for
For development, one of the variances we requested was development in a floodplain. And in talking to them, we agreed to put the septic in the front yard and set the house a little bit further back. But we will be elevating that house out of the floodplain. But that does put the septic system outside of the floodplain.
But all the other houses down there, they're all in the floodplain. They're designed that way because you don't have a choice. And so that's just, and back in Defiance, this is just what everybody has to do. They gotta vacate the old alleys. They used to run along the creek for some reason. I don't know, for coal, maybe for the train, I'm not really sure. And then, each house had an alley going between it. So once you're going through the titles and all that, you gotta vacate the alleys because they're not useful. No one ever uses them. So once we vacated the alleys, which before being we didn't have the vacation, but we vacated those last month or last meeting, so now the lots are bigger.
Councilwoman York.
So are there septic tanks there now, and
Every house has a septic tank in the front, so there's no sewer.
Okay.
Every house down there. yeah.
Okay, so you're
The
asking for
bars and
the
everybody,
septic tank for the new,
Yes, it would
house,
be, and
okay.
it'd be engineered by the engineer.
Sure.
Yeah, and the county approves them, I mean, it's just the way it is, you
Mhm.
know, yeah.
okay, thank you.
So does it currently have a septic tank? And you're,
No, the house, I bought a house that's old, it was really run down. We put a new septic tank in that, engineered. This lot next to it, which was already a lot, has not been built yet.
okay.
So the only problem is.
I was confused by her question.
Right, yeah.
Because I thought by her question, you were saying it already had a septic tank. So,
Yeah.
so this
I mean-
particular lot does not.
No,
So
it
that's
does
what-
not, but
okay.
you know, yeah, there's options. I mean, it's just, it's what you're saying is if people buy a lot that's already been plotted, that they don't have a right to build on it when everybody else has built on their lots, you know, and so that's just what it is. I'm just making the town look better.
Any other comments?
Now review what you told us earlier. So
So if,
if we're in support of,
basically, if you're in support of this, you vote no. If you're against it, you vote yes, correct?
Correct, but you need 5 no votes to overturn the
So
variance.
basically, everybody here has to agree, because Mr. Brazel cannot vote. He has to abstain. Mr. Hammond not being here will automatically fall in the other category. So he has to basically have everyone. Any other questions? With that, thank you. Please call the roll.
Bill number 5418, an ordinance affirming the Board of Zoning Adjustments decision on application VAR 25-01A.
Councilwoman York?
No.
Councilman Baker?
No.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes.
Councilman Brazel abstains. Councilman Hammond? Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
No.
So, sorry, Joe. Just so you know, I just feel bad that we turned down these on small acres before, and I feel it would look bad if we did this for you and we haven't done it for others. So, I get it. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
before you go on, can I comment?
yes.
Yeah, actually, this morning I asked Robert, and I think Mike worked on it too, all day. You know, I think the problem here is just doing this for one person.
Yes.
And if Joe has a problem, I'll bet there's other people who have the same problem.
Agreed. This
So
needs to be
we're looking
redone.
at all the plats, like, I mean, we got Defiance, and then we got, Orchard Farm, and Schlersburg, and all those places, and we're gonna try to find out if a whole bunch of people have the same problem, then we can cover everything at once.
Well, no, Steve, you're absolutely correct, and that's fine what you guys did, because here's the fact is, Robert and Mike, we've been meeting about this, and these rules, there's certain communities that are just not fair to these kind of communities.
Correct.
So it's not, and Robert, I told these guys, he goes, we can change the UDO because it's not right, like Schleusburg and St. Paul and all these places. But the thing is I can't change ordinances for myself.
I agree.
And so that's why I had to run through this process.
Yeah, and I think we need to find out exactly what impact this would have other places, and if we can do it for everybody, I certainly would support that.
I
think
don't
the
disagree,
council
Steve, at
probably
all.
would too.
I just had to run through the process.
This
and-
is,
yeah.
you know, we talk a lot about clustering. That's what they did in 1906
Yeah.
with Defiance. You know, it's surrounded by farms, and they said, well, we're on the railroad here, we need a few services and everything, and they clustered everything there in one place. So,
I think to Mr. Brazel's point, if he needs this, you're not alone. Other
No.
people who are in Defiance,
Right.
because you just
Yeah.
said if we vote against this, we're basically saying Defiance isn't going to be able to expand. Well, that's a problem. We need to fix that, not just for you, we need to fix it for Defiance. And we need to
100%.
fix it for everybody else. So I would rather fix it so you don't have to go get the variance, neither does anybody else. And that way, we didn't do a one-off, but we're going to fix this for everybody in all those situations that you're in. Because when you run into these early 1900 issues like this, that's a bigger issue. So I appreciate Robert and Mike and their folks working on this, and hopefully we can get this fixed quickly to where all the folks who are in that situation like you are, we can go ahead and get that done. That way,
Yeah,
see,
it's
there
gonna be
are
better for
places, other places that were platted, like St. Paul, or
Yes.
Josephsville, or New Melly, but they've incorporated, so they can deal with this issue there.
Or you can always
there's only
incorporate
two or
Defiance.
three, there's only 2 or 3 that are still unincorporated area and haven't become cities.
Right.
So we have to deal with them, and they're certainly different than the rest of that part of the county. So they'll be working on it. We'll try to have something filed by the next meeting.
The funny thing is that a house that I bought with the lot next to it, the sewage, the septic tank dumped right into the creek, into a pipe. So I'm only just saying I did correct that
Well,
on the
that's-
existing
I don't,
house.
you know, I know you moved it to the, septic tank to the front yard, but the backyard is Dar's Bottom, isn't it?
Well, no, there's a creek there, so.
But there's a creek, yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
okay. All right, so it's not like a crowded subdivision, it's on the edge of town.
Right.
So to speak, all right.
All right, with that, that'll move us on to Bill, there we go, 5419.
Bill number 5419, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a memorandum of understanding between the County of St. Charles on behalf of the Police Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, St. Louis Division for participation in the St. Louis Cyber Task Force.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none?
Bill number 5419, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a memorandum of understanding between the County of St. Charles on behalf of the Police Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, the St. Louis Division for participation in the St. Louis Cyber Task Force.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel.
Yes.
Councilman Hammond. Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Bill number 5419 passes. That brings us to 5420.
Bill number 5420, an ordinance adding a new chapter 180 of the ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri, OSCCMO, addressing community improvement districts.
Okay, bill number 5420, it needs a motion to amend this bill and replace it with substitute bill number 5420.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So now we have the substitute bill. Any discussion on this substitute bill?
I mean, we kind of went over it last year, our last meeting. What this does is it affords developers to choose if they want to use this. They don't have to use it. And it affords them the ability to put in trails, lakes, larger lots, and there will be a small, I don't want to call it an HOA fee, but kind of a fee, annual fee that's collected by the collector for a period, I believe, of 27 years. And then once it's paid off, it's paid off. And so it's monitored. It isn't like something these developers are going to profitize from. It's just, it just gets them over the hump to be able to build better subdivisions for our community.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll on substitute bill 5420.
Substitute Bill number 5420, an ordinance adding a new chapter 180 of the ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri, OSCCMO, addressing community improvement districts.
Councilman Brazel.
Yes.
Councilman Hammond. Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes, ma'am.
Joe, would you pull your mic?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Bill number 5420 passes. That brings us to Bill 5421.
Bill number 5421, an ordinance establishing a residential permit parking zone for the area bordering the St. Charles Convention Center and surrounding parking lots.
Councilwoman York.
Yes, I just want to thank staff for working with us. We've been working with the community, the neighborhood here for a long time. I know Mr. Elam had started this a while ago, and it's been back and forth. Anyway, I really encourage everybody to vote yes on this because there's been a lot of people to work because the residents really need some relief from these big conventions. And you know, one of the things I've noticed with the convention center is that they now, for the bigger conventions, they take a very large portion of their parking lot and they put big tents out there so that they have inside as well as outside. And that's taking up 50, 60 parking spaces. So they got to go somewhere, and unfortunately they're all going in people's yards and their driveways and you know, their parking lots, everything else, or parking spots. So I'd appreciate you all voting yes on this.
Any other questions or comments on this? I would like to say congratulations to Councilwoman York. She's been working very closely with the neighborhood, and I think we've got a nice compromise with the parking passes for everybody. 4 of them are free of charge, so hopefully you don't have a big party while the convention is going on. That could be problematic, but hopefully we can get the city of St. Charles to actually build a parking garage. That would be ideal. With that, please call the roll.
Bill number 5421, an ordinance establishing a residential permit parking zone for the area bordering the St. Charles Convention Center and surrounding parking lots.
Councilman Hammond. Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel.
Yes.
Bill 5421 passes, and that gets us to Bill 5422.
Bill number 5422, an ordinance fixing and establishing the rate and levying of taxes for the General Revenue Fund and for various special funds of and for the County of St. Charles, Missouri for the year 2025.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to amend Bill 5422 and replace it with substitute bill number 5422 that has revised tax rates. Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any comments on this bill?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just to note for the public, it's revising them down.
Down from 17.0.
It's revising them down, and apart from what was said at public comment today, all those numbers about increases in property tax do not really apply to the county. As you know, there's a real problem with reassessment and so forth, but our general revenue is zero and still is. And if we could, if we could lower the rates for other people in the county, I'm sure you all would love to do that, but we can only deal with ours, so.
Uh,
I was just going to point out that.
Can you talk into that?
Yep, the original bill was 17.02, it's going to 16.87 on Road and Bridge, and the original bill was 3.27 on dispatch, and it's going to 3.24. So both are
Excellent.
going downward.
So both of these have been revised down, which is why we have the substitute bill. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Substitute Bill Number 5422, an ordinance fixing and establishing the rate and levying of taxes for the General Revenue Fund and for various special funds and for the County of St. Charles, Missouri for the year 2025.
Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel.
Yes.
Councilman Hammond.
Bill number 5422 passes. That wraps up bills for final passage. Bills for introduction, 5423.
Bill number 5423, requested by Sarah Evers, sponsored by Mike Elam. An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a memorandum of agreement with the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services to provide for secure access to the Missouri State Public Health Laboratory Open Ellis web portal.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none, let's go to Bill 5424.
Bill number 5424, requested by Sarah Evers, sponsored by Mike Elam. An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Environmental Child Care Sanitation Inspections Participation Agency for contract ERS 220-20699 with the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services for inspections and re-inspections of child care facilities in St. Charles County.
Any questions or comments on this bill?
I just got a couple comments on it. I know Amy's in here, and she said we had multiple conversations about these child daycare centers, and from what she tells me, there's some issues with some of them that aren't monitored very well, and so maybe we might want to look at this and add a few more items on it if we feel that it's necessary.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, let's move to Bill 5425.
Bill number 5425, requested by Sarah Evers, sponsored by Mike Elam. An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute form field placement agreements between the St. Charles County Department of Public Health and public and private education institutions.
Any questions or comments on this bill? Seeing none, let's move to 5426.
Bill number 5426, requested by Matthew Seed, sponsored by Mike Elam. An ordinance amending the 2025 budget adopted in Ordinance 24-106 to add the remaining grant allocation of $3,499.72 of the state and local cybersecurity grant awarded to St. Charles County by the Missouri Department of Public Safety.
Any questions or comments about this $3,499.72? That may be the lowest dollar amount I've ever seen on an agenda item before us.
No, we had one lower.
Oh, we've had, okay.
Just
So with
one?
with that, let's go to 5427.
Bill number 5427, requested by Chief Kurt Frizz, sponsored by Mike Elam. An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute certain agreements with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the Show Me Zero program for receipt of funds totaling $10,500.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, let's go to 5428. Bless you.
Bill number 5428, requested by Sheriff Scott Lewis and Director Daniel Keene, sponsored by Mike Elam. An ordinance amending the 2025 budget adopted in Ordinance 24-106 to modify the current budget of the Department of Corrections and Sheriff's Department to create 6 new full-time Deputy Field Services Correctional Local Transport Unit positions within the Sheriff's Department to cover a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. shift, 7 days a week, in accordance with the interdepartmental agreement entitled Memorandum of Understanding for detainee or inmate transportation to medical and other necessary appointments.
Any questions or comments on this bill? I'd like to say thanks to the sheriff for working with us and being flexible and getting this done. Joanne?
I was going to say something similar. The sheriff actually started talking to me about this a couple months ago, I guess, and it was right when we moved 7 of the officers to day shift only to try to accomplish some administrative tasks that otherwise had been fairly difficult. But the thing that continues to, I'll say, bedevil the Department of Corrections is that, you know, when you have 500 people there on a pretty consistent basis, you have a lot of medical needs. Some of these people are older, they're on CPAPs, they have heart conditions, they have strokes, they have all these things, and every time Director Keene has to transport to the hospital, you can't just wave bye-bye at the door and say, let us know when you're ready to come back, we'll come pick you up. Somebody's got to be with them. And so that has been pulling people out. And the sheriff was kind enough to say he thinks there's a group of former law enforcement or current law enforcement interested in working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. that he can hire in. He's going to, if it's an emergency, obviously they'll still have to have corrections officers take them up to the hospital. But for scheduled medical appointments, his officers will take them during the day. For day hospital secure duties, they'll take over, and that'll put those correctional officers back inside the jail. And that'll be a crucial return to duty to try to take some of the pressure off of the Director Keene's folks. So I think it's a win-win all around.
Thank you. Mr. Baker?
I'm sorry. No, I don't have a question.
Oh.
I gotta watch my hands.
Anyone else?
That waving hand.
I know, I need to get that button right. Matthew's going to take care of us on that. So that'll move us to Bill 5429.
Bill number 5429, requested by Steve Ellman, sponsored by Patty York and Mike Elam. An ordinance authorizing the county executive or his designee to execute an agreement with the city of St. Charles concerning the reestablishment of Main Street from Clark Street to Montgomery Street, 200 North 2nd Street, and the development of roads in the River Point Development District.
Any questions or comments on this bill? Seeing none, that wraps up bills for introduction. Gets us to announcements and miscellaneous. Any announcements that need to be made tonight? Yes, sir.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, a mother made the difficult choice of dropping off her baby at one of our safe haven baby boxes.
Saw that.
And I want to just recognize Monica Kelsey for that great addition to our fire stations. And I'm sure it was an easy choice. So I'd like to bring her up here and give her something. So if that's something we could work on as a council, that'd be great.
Sounds good. Any other questions or comments? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I had the opportunity a couple weekends ago to go to the National Equestrian Center to go to a horse show out there, which I don't know, I was trying to get all my friends to go when I found out about it the day before, but it's a interesting facility. It's a beautiful facility. It's a big facility, and I can see where it can go from here. So it's going to be, I know in our CIP we've got some money in there, and that's one of the reasons I thought I haven't been out there in 20 years. So I wanted to see it, and it's in good shape and had some really pretty horses, do some really nice jumping. So good job.
Anyone else? I'd like to thank everybody for your work on council rules and for updating those. 2 big events going on this weekend, starting Friday up in Mr. Swanson's area at the St. Paul Knights of Columbus. Duck Fest is going on Friday and Saturday, if you get a chance to go out there. And on Sunday, Mo Cowbell is happening down at the St. Charles Riverfront. They set a record for the 2nd year in a row of the most people running. You got a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a full marathon. I just run my mouth. I don't run marathons. So that's going to start at 7 a.m. down on the riverfront. Almost 6,000 runners are going to be down there. So we got a ton of people coming to St. Charles this weekend, Chief. I hope your guys are all rested and ready to keep some law and order with that. With that, I
Mr.
would...
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
While you're on that,
Hey.
2 weeks ago, we had 3,000 bike riders at Levy Family Arena for the Pedal for the Cause.
Oh, that's right.
And they had a great event down there on Friday night, and I heard nothing but good reports. I know our police were out there all over the place, and along with the city police here in the city. So everybody was safe, and as far as I know, we didn't have any incidents, and thank you to the people who participated for behaving themselves.
Yeah, you know, these people that run marathons, they're too tired to cause trouble. These folks aren't causing trouble.
Well, and while we're on that topic of congratulations to the folks at Oktoberfest, another great celebration. The best Oktoberfest in the United States. So congratulations to all the folks who put that on. I know the Missouri GOP had a tent down there, so that was great. I didn't get a chance to make it down this year because I was in Arkansas celebrating my father's 93rd birthday on Saturday. So I told my dad, I hope I have your jeans, Pop. We'll see how that works out. With that, I would take a motion.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Weather was perfect.